Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you. My name is Esther and welcome to the Banana FM Radio.
Oh, thank you.
Today we have some questions about the history of Africa, especially Tanzania and German. And I have some few questions here, like how do you view the history of Germany and Africa in terms of country, development, human resource, and other things?
Well, first of all, let me say that I'm really happy to be back in Tanzania for the third time.
Okay.
And it's actually the only country in Africa that I'm already been 3 times, which shows how intense our relationship is between Tanzania and Germany since independence.
Yeah.
And we have close cooperations in many areas. We have a huge development portfolio about social security, water security, the equal rights of women.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot we work together, and not only government relations,
Yep.
but also civil society. Only Moshi, I learned, has 3 city partnerships
Yeah.
with 3 cities in Germany. So we have a lot that we can work on for the future. And of course, there's also a relationship in the history. This is where your question went
Yeah.
to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also here in Moshi to deal with the difficult parts of our past about the crimes that German colonists have committed against Tanzanian
Yeah.
all over the country, actually. And it seems that also even in Germany, but also in Tanzania, there is a wish and a need to know more about it. And especially in Germany, for some reasons, these crimes for a long time have been ignored and even forgotten. So only now that there is an increasing interest in Germany to know about what really happened in Tanzania. So we already lost many years in working on that past, but it's never too late to start with it.
That's true.
And so there is a chance in all this that we can do this together. Tanzanian, the government, the communities, the families, and the German side, the experts, the historians, that they can work together on this chapter of our history, and that will bring us even closer together when we are building on a better future, because it's always important to know where you come from in order to know where you're going.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Has German colonialism for African countries, including Tanzania, shaped any development or depressing the relevant nation and the relevant continent?
Well, not only for Tanzania but for all of Africa. I think the colonial time is a very difficult period of time that really had a huge influence on the development of the continent, of course, and we still see some of the consequences still today. So as I said, for the future,
Yeah.
it's important that we are conscious about what happened, and that we remind ourselves that it still is present in many people's minds in the oral history that the elders give to the younger. Mm-hmm. And we need to save this knowledge.
Okay. The president of Germany, in his visit in Tanzania, 2023, apologized for what Germany did to the ancestors and grandmothers of Tanzania. But the Tanzanians themselves said that it's not enough to apologize only, but also that compensation be paid. Can you bring this to our negotiation table and pass it, or what are the Abunuas's dreams, like it won't happen?
Well, I had the honor to accompany the President Steinmeier to Songea. I was with him, and it was a very emotional moment. And the descendants of the executed national leaders, they said that they were waiting for this apology for a long time, and that it is important that the what happened is recognized. So I think this is it's not the end, but it's the beginning of really working on the common past. What they said, of course, they have a couple of needs, wishes like a museum or something, but it was important to them to tell us that it's not about financial recompensation that they're asking for, but for them it's important that we acknowledge the injustice that had happened. And so I think this is what I heard from the descendants themselves. And I know there's other debates as well that we need to lead, and there's also a debate in Germany. But as I said, we already have an intensive cooperation and portfolio that we will definitely continue, so we'll see what the cooperation with the government relation also. That's important to when we talk about our relationship also in the past. So we'll have more talks among the governments to find out what else we can do.
Okay, thank you. So there's another question here, like regarding to equal rights and the emphasis of the women's law for the nation of Tanzania. How do you view it, and what perspective does it give you? Does it give you a relationship between Tanzania and Germany?
Well, I had the honor to meet the president twice. She received me at my first visit, and I was really impressed and by her. She's decided really to fight for equal rights for women and girls in Tanzania. So I think there's still a lot to do. For example, the marriage age is an important discussion, so that girls really can have a good education before they get married. All this is, I know, a big debate in Tanzania, and we of course we see that and we support it and we value it, because you can only have a good development in a country when the girls and the women are part of it, and if there is an access to justice and no violence against women. So I see there is a lot to do in Tanzania, but I see a president that is really decided to deal with this and to fight it through, and I'm really impressed and will support her.
Okay, okay, the relationship between Tanzania and Germany have grown now. What are the benefits of Tanzania that Germany will benefit from your visit here?
Oh, we already benefit from our mutual relations, and there is a lot of exchange going on. As I said, there's city partnerships. I just met yesterday. Tübingen city. Tübingen in German. There's a relationship between our here Moshi and German. Even three. There's Tübingen, there's Keul, and there's Marburg. And it's very impressive what these corporations always brought to life. We visited the clinic, which is not only a clinic, it's a university, it's a research institution. It's really huge, and it's a cooperation with the clinic in Marburg. And 2 days ago we presented a project of the writings of Bruno Gutmann, who was a missionary who wrote down all the Chakra cultures for over 30 years when he was living with them. And there was a wish to have access to this book. So people in Tübingen and the university in Dar es Salaam worked on that project together to translate the writings of Bruno Gutmann into Swahili, so that the people here in the region have access to this knowledge and can read the books. So there is a lot of cooperation going on. So what we should African learn from Germany, especially in terms of industry and education and other policies that will help this country move forward? As I said, we both sides profit from the bilateral relation, and one of the important projects that Tanzania is trying to build up is a social security for everybody. That's something that we build up in Germany, and so it's a good cooperation to support the idea of a general social security and health security for everybody. And I think that's important, as well as we talked about the equal rights of women and girls and access to justice, social security. So there is a lot we can profit on.
Okay, I have a last question here. What German rule in current world tumor, such as war between Israel and Palestine, Ukraine and Russia, and the other crises in Africa?
Well, of course, the foreign policy is also something that I'll talk about tomorrow when I'll meet the foreign minister of Tanzania. And unfortunately, we all have a lot to talk about right now, because we have a war in Europe, we have war in the Near East, we have atrocities happening to people in DRC and in Sudan. So it is important that we strengthen multilateralism. That's what Germany goes for. We want to strengthen African representation in United Nations organizations, because we need to find a way back to peace and security, and we can only do this together. So we are trying to strengthen our relationships to democracies, to countries who stand up for multilateralism, so that we can tackle these really difficult conflicts and bring the parties of the conflicts at the table. And for that, it needs strong institutions. Yesterday I visited the East African community in Arusha, and that's one example of a regional organization that can play an important role in mediating and trying to stop violence in the neighboring countries, because the best actors to mediate a conflict are the neighbors, are the people on the continents themselves. So the regional organizations are very important for peace and security, not only in Africa, in Europe as well. The idea of the European community was founded not only for economy, but to stabilize and have peace in Europe. And that's the same whether it's Europe or Africa. We need intensive cooperation and multilateralism so that people can live in peace on all the continents.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for having you here. You said it's your second time to be in Tanzania. What do you like the most here in Tanzania?
Oh, I must say